Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you today with an article from Breitbart. This is dated, let me scroll down here, June 11th. It's by John Nolte, who I've made my affection for known before. And we're going to keep going on. This is about this man right here, Terry Moran. It says, Trump's golden era continues. Far left ABC News fires Terry Moran. So I'm not sure if you saw this happen. It's probably about at least a week ago from the time that I am recording this. But we'll get into it because you'll see what happened. It says far-left ABC News fired Terry Moran after the 28-year employee had a public meltdown on X caused by a career-fatal case of Trump derangement syndrome, or TDS. It says, learn to podcast, bitch. It says, last week, ABC's 65-year-old senior correspondent lost control of himself and published an unhinged and utterly bizarre rant against President Trump and White House advisor Stephen Miller, as Breitbart News reported. There was no reporting from Moran. It was all impotent frustration and ad hominem, the kind of thing that usually begins with Dear Diary. Sadly for Terry, TBS, like the news station, or not the news station, but the channel, this TDS, there we go, Trump derangement syndrome, can strike anywhere and at any time. Apparently, without his diary and pen with the fuzzy thing on top nearby, Terry wrote this on X. And he says, the thing about Stephen Miller, that's the Trump advisor, is that he is the brains behind Trumpism. Yes, he is one of the people who conceptualizes the impulses of the Trumpist movement and translates them into policy. But that's not what's interesting about Miller. It's not brains, it's bile. Miller is a man who is richly endowed with the capacity for hatred. He's a world-class hater. You can see this just by looking at him because you can see that his hatreds are his spiritual nourishment. He eats his hate. Trump is a world-class hater, but his hatred only a means to an end, and that end is his own glorification. That's his spiritual nourishment. So this guy is an ass, apparently. So they later deleted the post, but it was too late, and Team Trump demanded accountability. And here's J.D. Vance coming in, saying basically WTF, and quote tweeted him there. And then Stephen Miller himself says the most important fact about Terry's full public meltdown is what it shows about the corporate press in America. For decades, the privileged anchors and reporters narrating and gatekeeping our society have been radicals adopting a journalist pose. Terry pulled off his mask. Yep, that's spot on. And then Caroline Levitt jumps in and says, basically, it's unhinged and unacceptable. And they reached out to ABC to find out what the hell is going on. And here's part of the reason ABC might have let Terry Moran go, because they did actually end up cutting him loose and not just suspending him, as the article is going to say. It says ABC News, which has already paid out $15 million to Trump for defamation, quickly suspended the moron Moran. It says ABC News stands for objectivity and impartiality, and sure you do, in its news coverage and does not condone subjective personal attacks on others. The Post does not reflect the views of ABC News and violated our standards. As a result, Terry Moran has been suspended pending further evaluation. It says AB News stands for objectivity, y'all. Meet objective Terry Moran. He uses the word Fuhrer, and this is Terry Moran here on the right, who is an Obama fanboy, which should just tell you all you need to know. It says 2 days later, Moran was fired or didn't have his contract renewed, which was coincidentally up at this particular time. Yeah, how coincidental. It says based on his recent post, which was a clear violation of ABC News policies, we have made the decision not to renew, ABC News wrote in a statement. It says what's especially lovely about this firing is that it comes just 2 weeks after Trump humiliated Moran in an interview, and I remember this. And it says from Tom Elliott here is a good follow on X. It says Trump's last words to Terry Moran. So we had a president that was grossly incompetent. You knew it. I knew it. Everybody knew it. But you guys didn't write it because you're fake news. And by the way, ABC is one of the worst. I have to be honest with you. And so, less than 6 months into his second term, Trump's epic schlonging, it's an interesting way of putting it, of the worst people in the world, it's the corporate media, adds notch number 22. And I'm not going to go through every single one of these, but it's a whole bunch of news people at left/leftist organizations that do not have their jobs anymore. And the article is linked in the description below if you want to pull it up and check that out for yourself. And it ends with, may they all be forever consigned to the ninth circle of podcasting known as obscurity. Pretty sure, what's his face, Dante didn't write about that level of hell, but it's probably a thing. Probably like there with purgatory, but whatever. So, there you go. What do you think about Terry Moran being fired? Was it deserved? Let me know anything in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.